Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So today is the weekly waiver wire rankings, positional rankings for fantasy football, and the review of the Patriots' last game, plus their preview for their next game. So starting off with the Patriots, they played Monday night. They ended up playing Monday night after the whole fiasco of Cam Newton testing positive for COVID-19, and they ended up losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the score is irrelevant. They lost the game. It was a game that they had a chance to win. If Cam Newton, the way the defense was playing early on for the Patriots, if they had Cam Newton for the game, they probably win. And I'm not just a Patriots fan saying that. You know, I'm not just one of these Patriots fans. They legitimately probably win that game last night against the Chiefs if Cam Newton is available to play for them and start. Brian Hoyer didn't look anything like an NFL quarterback. You know, he had a couple turnovers, he had a fumble, an interception. Jarrett Stidham looked a little bit better when he came in, but who knows? That seems to always happen with some of these quarterbacks. You know, like the Bears a couple weeks ago had Mitchell Trubisky in, and he was doing awful, and they were losing. And then in the back half of that game against the Falcons, and again, you know, I know it's against the Falcons, but they brought in Nick Foles, and he played really well, and they ended up coming back and winning the game. Fast forward to this week, and this past week, and Nick Foles is already, he's named the starter going into the game, and he doesn't look as good. When teams know who they're preparing for at quarterback, it's a little more difficult for them to adjust when a quarterback comes in relief, for the original starting quarterback, especially when that change is made after halftime, because halftime is so crucial for these teams for when they want to make adjustments. So when that kind of adjustment is made after halftime, the defense doesn't have the opportunity to really go over that change. So with that being said, Jarrett Stidham came in. He looked a little better than Brian Hoyer, but not nearly as good enough. And now it's presumed he'll be the starter because Cam Newton's probably going to be out for the next game on Sunday late afternoon against the Denver Broncos. But man, they're gonna be prepared for Jarrett Stidham in that game. So I don't know. So far, through 4 weeks, my predictions for the Patriots have been correct. They started at home, pretty easy matchup against the Miami Dolphins, and won. They went on the road against the Seattle Seahawks, a really tough opponent in a really tough place to play, and they lost. They came back home, played not as easy of an opponent against the Las Vegas Raiders, but they were home and the opposition wasn't that great, and they won. And the next week, they go on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs, another really, one of the best teams in the league, just like the Seahawks, top 3 team in the league. Another really one of the most toughest places to play in the NFL, and they lost. So it's tough. It's tough having those kinds of losses, but at the same time, they really weren't expected to win, even with Cam Newton. Without knowing how the defense was going to play last night, or how poorly Patrick Mahomes was going to look early on last night, you would think, even with Cam Newton, that was going to be a loss for the Patriots. But surprisingly enough, like I said earlier in the video, if they had him and the defense played like that and they actually, got the turnovers that they should have gotten, the interception that the refs called back, the interception that Jason McCourty dropped, or was it Devin McCourty? One of the McCourtys dropped the interception, and J.C. Jackson dropped another one later on. So there's a lot of missed opportunities on the defensive side of the ball. It's tough playing against one of the toughest teams in the league while also trying to play against the referees, though. So that was pretty rough. But yeah, it's just chalk it up as one of those games. Got to move on to the next team, the Denver Broncos. I have that as a win for the Patriots, even without Cam Newton. Even if Drew Lock comes back for the Broncos, their original starting quarterback, I think the Patriots win. That being said, it's not necessarily going to be easy. The Broncos are really beat up, but they're still a tough team to play against, and they always play up against the Patriots no matter what. So it's definitely a plus being home and moving that game back from 1 to 4:25 or 4:05, one of the 4 o'clocks. So that's really good for the Patriots, but they got to show something without having Cam Newton around, because he's probably not coming back till week 7. I know week 6 doesn't really matter because the Patriots have their bye, so they're kind of lucky in that aspect of it, but they definitely need him back. Sony Michel's out. It's not like that really matters. Damian Harris is probably better, so that worked out. Don't like Sony Michel. I don't know how many times I have to say it. So, yeah. Go Patriots. I'm expecting them to be 3-2 by the time I make this video next week, again, next week's version of this video. And let's move on to the fantasy football part of this video. So, I thought last week was tough. This week's even tougher with trying to figure out who to pick up. It's not exactly the most encouraging thing to see. I know a lot of guys went the first 2 weeks, and even last week with Justin Jefferson. So I don't know where to go with this. There's guys that I had on this list that are probably long gone and stashed on benches, but I don't know. Let's just see what you guys think. Number 1, we got Mecole Hardman. I think right now he should be up there. It makes the most sense, but he could easily be droppable next week. You don't know with him. Number 2, I'm going to go with Damian Harris. Showed a lot for the Patriots, and I think he can be the lead back. I don't think he'll necessarily be a workhorse, but he can definitely be the first guy for that backfield. Number 3, Alshon Jeffrey. He's going to need to come back. Deshaun Jackson's banged up. Jalen Reagor's banged up. Their receivers didn't exactly look amazing outside of Greg Ward on Sunday night, so they definitely need him. Number 4, I'm going to go with Scotty Miller. As long as Chris Godwin's out, he'll remain up there. Number 5, Chase Edmonds. Kenyon Drake is not looking like the late first, early to mid second round pick that he was in fantasy football drafts. Next, Eric Ebron. It looked good before his game got suspended. I'm going to go with Zach Pascal next. He has the opportunity in that Colts offense. Justin Jackson, now that Austin Eckler's gone down with an injury, Justin Jackson's pickup. Dearness Johnson, same thing for the Browns now that Nick Chubb is down with an injury. Robert Tonyan, I don't know if he necessarily repeats what he's been doing, but he definitely deserves the attention. Tim Patrick, he can be up there. Mo Alley Cox. Christian Kirk, if he was dropped, you can pick him back up. Traquan Smith, just in case something happens with Michael Thomas again. You got Teddy Bridgewater, Justin Herbert, those guys for quarterbacks. Curtis Samuel, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Phillip Rivers, Greg Ward, Frank Gore, just in case with Le'Veon Bell. He's expected back this week, but you never know. Keyshawn Vaughn with all the injuries to the Buccaneers running backs and suspensions. Kirk Cousins. So yeah, that's honestly really it. Maybe Nelson Aguilar. But yeah, that's really it. It's not exactly a strong week for fantasy football waiver wire. So no need to really stress over any of that. If I could recommend any one of those guys, it would probably be Damian Harris. He's probably the number one guy. So I would definitely go after him with as much as you can and as much as you feel comfortable with. And yeah, that's what it is for the waiver wire part of this video. Now I'm going to do the positional rankings, the top 10. Number 1, Russell Wilson. Going to be probably a shootout with the Minnesota Vikings, or it'll just be a Seattle onslaught. I don't know. Number 2, Pat Mahomes. Number 3, Lamar Jackson. See the trend here. Number 4, Dak Prescott. Number 5, Kyler Murray. Number 6, I got Deshaun Watson. Number 7, Josh Allen. Number 8, I'm going to go with Drew Brees, getting Michael Thomas back. Number 9, Jared Goff, even though he had an awful week. And number 10, I'm going to go with Gardner Minshew. Now moving on to the running backs. Number 1, Alvin Kamara. Number 2, Ezekiel Elliott. Number 3, Dalvin Cook. Number 4, Josh Jacobs. Number 5, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Number 6, I'm going to go with Jonathan Taylor. Number 7, James Robinson. Number 8, Kareem Hunt. Now that Nick Chubb's down. Number 9, I'm going to go with Todd Gurley. And number 10, Chris Carson. Moving on to wide receivers. Number 1, Tyreek Hill. Number 2, DeAndre Hopkins. Number 3, Adam Thielen. Number 4, Amari Cooper. Number 5, DK Metcalf. Number 6, Tyler Lockett. Number 7, Stephon Diggs. Number 8, I'm going to go with Calvin Ridley. Number 9, Allen Robinson. And number 10, I'm going to go with Cooper Kupp. Moving on to tight ends. Number 1, George Kittle. Number 2, Travis Kelce. Number 3, Mark Andrews. Number 4, Darren Waller. Number 5, Zach Ertz. Number 6, Hunter Henry. Number 7, Tyler Higbee. Number 8, Dalton Schultz. Number 8. Number 9, Hayden Hurst. And number 10, Mike Gesicki. Now, going with kickers, this is where we enter a kind of interesting part. Obviously, it's status quo pretty much at this point with these guys. Number 1, Justin Tucker. Number 2, Harrison Butker. Number 3, Will Lutz. Number 4, Greg Zuerlein. Number 5, Jason Myers. Number 6, Zane Gonzalez. Number 7, Rodrigo Blankenship. Number 8, Robbie Gould. Number 9, Joey Sly. And number 10, Kaimi Fairbairn. And last but not least, defense and special teams. Number 1, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 2, San Francisco 49ers. Number 3, Los Angeles Rams. Number 4, Baltimore Ravens. Number 5, New England Patriots. Number 6, Arizona Cardinals. Number 7, Indianapolis Colts. Number 8, Buffalo Bills. Number 9, Pittsburgh Steelers. And number 10, the Kansas City Chiefs. So with that being said, feel free to message me on any questions that you have. If you want me to mention them in my videos, I'll be happy to do that. I've gotten some questions, private messages from people already when they've seen me post these videos. So, definitely feel free to do that. I don't mind at all. I'm happy to give you some advice. Just don't blame me if whether it goes right or wrong. Thank you all for the support so far. I really do appreciate it. I know I said that every video. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.